Good evening. I'm Patrick Frazier, and welcome to this very special edition of Franciscan Beat. Today, I'm joined by Carly Newman, who, along with running mate Paula Bear, wants to be a voice for you. Thank you so much for joining us, Carly.
Thank you so much, Patrick.
So for those of you who don't know, Carly Newman, student senator from fall 2018 through fall 2019, Austrian ambassador for spring 2020, which I'm sure was a very interesting experience towards the end of the semester. Serves as the current Chief Justice for Franciscan Student Government. She is a junior political science major and a history major as well. And she's running with Paula Bear, sophomore finance major, brother of the Eternal Song, freshman senator last year, and current executive assistant in Franciscan Student Government. So, Carly, what was it that drew you to student government in the first place?
When I first came to Franciscan University, I didn't know anyone, and coming in and being a freshman, it's a little scary. But I am a political science major, and I do love politics. I was involved with politics in high school, so I knew that trying to find something in that area was something that I wanted to do. Once I heard about Senate elections, I instantly knew that I wanted to run. There was a few of us that were running, so I was going to have to campaign. I made business cards for all of my peers and was passing them out, asking them to vote for me. And that really allowed me to get to know different people on campus and allowed me to form friendships with them. Once I was elected into student government, however, I did form different relationships with members of student government, which is a really great experience. And I was also able to put myself out there and get to know my fellow peers in the student body.
Very good, very good. So you're spending all this time, you're in student government, you're meeting people, you're shaking hands, you're handing out business cards. But why student president in particular?
So honestly, when I say this, I really mean it. When I first came to Franciscan University and began to hear about student government, I knew one day that I would run for president. And sitting here before you today, having this reality come upon me is just amazing because I want to be able to give back to what student government has done for me. I'm not making an understatement when I say that I love student government. I love Franciscan University, and I really believe that student government has shaped me into the person that I am today. If so much of an organization can do for me, I want to be able to give back to the student body.
You heard it here first, folks. Franciscan Beat's the place where dreams come true. So, like you said, you're running with Paula Bear. Like, what was it that brought you together and the two of you were like, hey, let's run for student government together?
So I met Paul last year when I was a senator and he was also a senator. And I was only here for a semester because I went to Austria the following spring. So we had kind of known each other, but we really got to know each other through being in the Cirilla Herald campaign this year. I really believe that Paul is just a really driven person. He knows how to get things done, but he also has a passion for serving the student body, which is what drew me to choose him to be my vice president. I actually called him up this past semester and I asked him, I said, I want to run for president and I really want you to be my vice president. And his answer was yes, 100% yes. And that's when I knew that I made the right decision.
Nice, nice. So your platform, very interesting stuff, advocating for a return to normal campus life. I mean, obviously everybody's very excited about that. Mm-hmm. Hosting events to cater to spiritual needs of students, collaborating with Student Life to host fun events on campus, increasing transparency between the student government and student body, as well as a few proposed speakers. We've got Will Witt, an influencer for YouTuber channel PragerU, Patrick Madrid, a speaker, author, and a research fellow at the St. Paul Center, as well as Timothy Gordon, host of the Rules for Retrogrades podcast and a collaborator on Motherboard Skateboards. So first of all, like, why those speakers in particular?
So Paul has a lot of political connections, which has been really helpful throughout this whole process. And so trying to find not only what the student body would want, but also catering to the spiritual aspect as well. So with Will Witt, he is a political commentator, and we really, I mean, all of us on our campaign team love watching his videos. We feel like him going out to different college campuses and asking questions that are really pertinent in today's society is a great opportunity to bring him to campus. So we contacted PragerU, and we have him lined up if we are given the honor of being elected next year. With Patrick Madrid, he was more of somebody that we decided he is more of a traditional person as well as Timothy Gordon is, and just bringing their experiences that they have through their podcast. Patrick Madrid, he worked with EWTN, and being able to bring those type of spiritual speakers on campus that are well known across the student body is a really great experience for people to dive deeper into their Catholic faith, and we hope will help grow their relationship with God.
Very exciting. Very exciting. So looking at your platform in general, what was it that inspired you? You were like, these are the specific things that we want to run for, and we want to like promise these to the students if elected.
I've been in student government for the past 3 administrations, and coming from the inside, kind of knowing what each administration has ran on and what they've actually been able to promise the student body, we wanted to focus on something that we knew we could promise and that could become a reality. We're not making false promises, and we're not coming up with such big ideas that seem so far off. We wanted to focus on the daily, everyday things that will really get students excited, but also to bring campus into a better place than it already is. So focusing on transparency. Not a lot of people know what goes on in student government. If you ask somebody what goes on in student government, they know that we pass bills for clubs. We want to be able to bring that transparency and actually show you where we're putting our money. So we have an idea of having a student government newsletter where students would be able to receive this newsletter either via email or whatever mode we're thinking of. And that way they understand what the bills are being spent on and how it's actually benefiting the student body as a whole. I think with some of our other platform ideas, we really just wanted to focus on the spirituality of our students as well. I know that that's been touched on in the past few campaigns, but we really wanted to hit that hard. And that's why we're focusing on bringing in different speakers like Timothy Gordon and like Patrick Madrid to help grow and deepen the Catholic faith on campus. You know, Franciscan is a very charismatic place and people are on fire with the Holy Spirit, and we really would just love to be a voice and deepen that on campus. As far as having events on campus, we are having the 3 speakers. We also have talked to 2 different bands, the National Parks and the Hunts, to have an event on campus next year if we are given the honor of being elected. So we really just wanted to focus on having those types of community events that make Franciscan such a special place. Everyone's drawn to Franciscan because of the community aspect, and we really wanted to emphasize that with our campaign.
Newman Albert, the campaign for indie fans. So you talk a lot about being a voice for students here on campus. Like one definite concern that a lot of students have had on campus is a lot of aspects of the Title IX campus process here on campus. Mm-hmm. Is there anything that your campaign has in terms of ideas for trying to improve or like otherwise enhance that process?
So I think what we really need to focus on is what is in the abilities of student government. I know so many organizations, so many administrations, if you will, have promised things that are out of reach of student government, so we really would like to focus on what is in our reach. With the Title IX aspect, I feel like what we would be able to do is kind of promote it and possibly work with student life to enhance the process a little bit better. I'm not quite sure how much of a hand we would actually be able to have in that process, but just being able to be aware and make students aware that there is a Title IX process if something does come and happen to them, that we can help them and kind of be that bridge between the students and the administration.
All right, so it's after Mass on Sunday, and a freshman student, they come up to Father Nathan, they're like, "Father Nathan, why should I vote Newman Albert?" And Father Nathan's like, "Oh, well, brother, let me tell you why." How would he finish that sentence?
I believe that Father Nathan would finish that sentence explaining how our cabinet, number one, is a very diverse cabinet. We have students from all different types of households, different backgrounds, different grade levels. We truly want to reach every aspect of campus, every person we want to be able to reach. That's why our slogan is a voice for you. We want to be a voice for the student body. We're not going to be this idea high up. We want to be with the students. We are the students. And so by being a voice for you, we wanted to have that diverse team, number one. Number two, I feel like our policies are very practical. I think that having transparency, the spirituality and spiritual needs of students, collaborating with student life, and bringing campus back to normal, those are the 4 main points that I think everybody could agree on are important on this campus. So we would really like to focus on that. The last thing, we all have such driven personalities. When we want something, we're going to get it done. We want to achieve our goals, and we will achieve our goals and make these ideas to become a reality for campus. So just having that drive, I think, is very important, as well as having a passion for serving the student body. This is a position of service. I didn't have to become president. I didn't have to become a senator. I chose to be in this position. And I feel like having that choice makes it so much more special because you're choosing to serve others.
And I assume also because Father Nathan, you probably had with
Definitely.
So, final question, and this perhaps the most important question that we'll be asking on this entire newscast. What is the airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow?
Of an unladen swallow?
Of an unladen swallow.
Unladen swallow. I'm not quite sure how to answer that question. The first number that comes to my mind would be 50.
Very good, very good. Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight, Carly. And we'll be right back with a candidate that's looking to take a trip back to the future. Stay with us. And we're back. I'm here with Alex Mckenna, who's traveling back to the future, not with Martin McFly or Doc Brown, but with his running mates, Josh Schutte. Thanks for your time, Alex.
Yeah, thank you, Patrick.
So for those of you who don't know, Alex Mckenna, student vice president during 2019 through 2020, current student head of orientation, junior political science and humanities and Catholic culture major, and I've been told he's something of that guy when it comes to political science, and a big fan of maple syruping. All right, so Alex, what was it that drew you to student government?
Yeah, so I was invited to be on student government actually before I was even a student. So Gabe Gessler was president way back when. It would have been 2018, and I had just completed the election for the mayor of Steubenville, and he invited me to be on the cabinet as executive assistant. So I thought, well, what a better way of serving the student body than, beginning in a simple entry-level position and trying to see what I could do. And it was through that service that really drew me to continue in student government.
So from helping get a mayor elected to student government president, that's quite the trajectory.
Yes, sir.
So why was it that you decided that you want to run for student president?
Yeah, I would say that the simple answer is because I really love the student body. I've grown to love campus. I've been here obviously almost 3 years now, and I love seeing the growth that we can achieve on campus, what we can do as students and the impact each of our lives can make. I think student government is a huge part of that. So I really want to see a vision of empowering more students on campus to achieve the goals and the events that they want on campus.
So like we mentioned, you're running with Josh Schutte. What brought you together with your running mate?
Yeah, so Joshua and I met way back when we were sophomores in high school. We were in opposite speech and debate clubs. We actually went head-to-head a couple times. Joshua won. I'm still salty, but hopefully he won't see this video. And we really hit it off. He was one of few Catholics in the group, and so we had a lot of great conversations together. And since then, we actually were planning, I think, on running against each other. We had both sort of had our eyes set on the presidency. But at the beginning of last semester, we came together and had a little conversation about the presidency and decided, why don't we combine forces and see what we can do to make a difference?
And for those of you wondering, Josh is a junior experimental psychology major, a soccer player for Franciscan's men's team, as well as a resident assistant at St. Louis and Elizabeth Hall. So it would have been quite the matchup. The soccer player and the maple syruper.
It certainly would have been toe-to-toe and head-to-head.
Yes, indeed. So your platform, advocating for mental health, featuring a speaker series on campus, perhaps involving Pastoral Madrid, who knows, as well as a event that you're calling Mental Health Mondays. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So Mental Health Mondays actually came as a brain thought out of something that the Psychology and Mental Health Advocacy Club did this semester, which was a mental health week. And there's nothing better to describe mental health and to get people involved in mental health, taking care of both their own and those of those around them, than having consistent events. And so our idea is that every Monday there'll be some event associated with mental health. That could be bringing therapy dogs on campus and talking about their importance in mental health, or it could be simply having a self-care sort of day, promoting emotional health on campus, something fun that all students can partake in.
Franciscan Beat. We want dogs on campus. You also are promising to promote and coordinate fun events on campus, including a on-campus community garden, as well as a drive-in movie theater.
That's right.
So what inspired this platform? What made you and Josh say, oh yeah, we want to make a drive-in movie theater happen on Franciscan?
Yeah. Well, why do people pay for Franciscan, I think is the real question. We've got excellent academics, but most importantly, it's for the community here. And because of COVID-19, we've seen that drop off. Nobody will deny that. And so our hope is to help re-inspire and ignite that community. And a part of that is those fun events on campus. So that begins in something like a drive-in movie theater. Everybody can come around, enjoy some popcorn, watch a good film, maybe Back to the Future, who knows? That's up to the students to decide if we win. But also things like a community garden. You know, it's important that we as students are not just stuck in the library, focused on our studies, but enjoying life as well. And a part of being fully alive, I'm convinced, is having a balanced life. And that means spending time outside, spending time with friends, spending time in the garden, beginning to see how growth happens in reality so that we can learn how to better grow ourselves.
Interesting, interesting. So, one concern that a lot of students have here on campus is in particular in regards to the Title IX process here on campus. What do you think your campaign, if elected, would do in regards to either improving or just like refocusing that process?
Absolutely. So there's a great group that are the confidential advocates. They are a frequently underutilized service, I think, here at Franciscan, that are not Title IX recommended or required reporters, but instead you can come to them with any concerns you have regarding Title IX, and they'll hear your concerns, help you through them, understanding the processes that go into a Title IX accusation or a Title IX defense. And so I think in large part, we've got some great services on campus, and it's time for awareness of those services. Naturally, they're not perfect, and I think that there are, issues that we can address for sure. But most importantly, I think awareness of what we currently offer is something critical to help students that are in a tough spot.
Definitely, definitely. So, one Sunday after Mass, a freshman student, we'll say his name is Joseph, comes up to...
A classic.
Yes, of course. Comes up to Father Nathan and says, "Father Nathan, why should I vote Mckenna should he?" And he says, "Oh, well, let me tell you, brother, you should because..." How would he finish that sentence?
I think he would finish it because of our vision. Joshua and I are committed to empowering students on campus. I think sometimes student government is viewed as a sort of over here institution that is controlled by a couple of elite students and they run a couple of things on campus. That's really not what it is nor what it should be. What we're committed to is broadening the impact of student government so that all people are included in the processes. Naturally, everybody can't be a senator, but everybody has ideas. Everybody has thoughts of how campus can be better. Everybody wants to be heard in what they want to see happen. And honestly, so many of those ideas are fantastic and much better than some of the ones that Joshua and I could think up on our own. So what we are committed to is empowering students, empowering and giving students the fundraising, the funding, the marketing, the critical partnerships, the resources overall that they need in order to get what they want done.
Definitely. And one last question, and this is probably the most important question that will be asked during this entire interview. Which Back to the Future is the best?
Obviously, number one. It's the original Marty McFly. I think it's just an absolutely fantastic film. My favorite part personally is when the dog food is just constantly falling into the bowl, as disgusting as that is. But yeah, definitely number one. We'll see if that's showing at the drive-in movie theater should we win. Ultimately, it's the student body that decides.
Definitely. Thank you so much for your time tonight, Alex.
Thank you, Patrick.
And thank you, dear viewers, for joining us tonight. For Franciscan Beat, I'm Patrick Frazier. Don't forget to vote April 27th. And you stay classy, Stupid Bill.